h6 is very strong.
Rook d7, knight d7, and the g6 pawn falls.
Yeah, g6 falls and just 8 seconds for Fabi.
Wow, Vincent. Is he going to take another?
He takes on d7 first.
Takes on d7.
And rook f7, queen b8 is there. Yeah.
Ooh, that's full board awareness by Gukesh. The queen comes in from the other side of the board.
Well.
And is there a defense after that? Because I don't see.
I think it's resigns. Yeah.
Yeah, queen b8 is over. And Vincent's double checking, and he's going to go for it. He is going to go for it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. Wow,
And he
Vincent.
does it. And Fabi resigns. Vincent with a big win, and Peter with a sigh of relief on that one. Queen b8, a really
What a
nice move.
performance.
Yeah, but we have been talking about the jacks. Yeah, the jacks are just way too dangerous.
Gukesh, how was it for you? First day here at the freestyle chess. How was the experience?
It was quite nice.
Knight b2 to d3 would be kind of very tempting, just to coordinate the pieces. Knight c4, ambitious move. Going after the black's king. Yeah, rook f7 check. And wow, these youngsters are fearless.
He wants to give checkmate even in this position. The
Yes.
knight on b4, c4, taking away all the squares from black's king. So not only up a piece, but going for a mating attack here. Gukesh putting pressure on the bishop on b7. Magnus goes all the way far away from those white threatening knights, and maybe the knight can start jumping in. Knight a6 check. You have to go to a8 with your king.
Yes, but it's not checkmate yet. So maybe you just protect that pawn first, because black is not running away. What? Yeah, and Magnus resigned.
Wow.
Checkmate.
Unreal. And we did see a checkmate in the end with the knight coming back. Rook to a7 was the big threat. Knight to c7 is the other big threat. Gukesh.
It's cemented with this pawn on b5. The knight on f5 is eternal. Yeah, basically both light pieces are eternally placed. Black has no counterplay. Look at the pawn structure that we highlighted right from the beginning. Yeah, that ever since white played this b4, c takes b4, queen b4, everything is just perfect. How is he finishing it off?
Queen b4 attacking d6. Black had to push the pawn. The only way to keep it defended. He goes d5. The queen penetrates further after d5. Queen a5. And black's pieces are just overloaded trying to keep that king defended. You can't move the rook from the 7th rank. And Deng Liren has had enough. He loses his 4th game in a row of the day. It's been an absolute nightmare for the world champion today. Gukesh with his 2nd win in a row.
No, 3rd win in a row already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he is on
Levon?
fire. Yes.
He beat Levon in the
No,
previous
Magnus.
round.
Yeah, Magnus first, then Levon and nothing. Yeah, that's Gukesh.
He beat the world number 1 and the world champion in the same day.
No! I promoted to a queen! I promoted to a queen! That's actually so freaking bad! That's checkmate! Okay, whatever. Okay. Let's go into the next game, knight f6.
You just try to get into a game. And like you said, I think a very important factor is the time here. Freestyle chess is very difficult, and 25 minutes and 10 seconds increment per move is not a lot of time. So they probably don't want to spend that much time in the first few moves. Then again, these first few moves are really important. So what do you guys think? What will be the strategy?
It's very important because it determines the middle game position that you get. And that's why we see Levon and Magnus really discuss the very start of the game. The very first moves that you're pointing out in Rapid, they start with 25 minutes on the clock. With every move that they make, every press of the clock, they get an additional 10 seconds. Eventually we will move on to the classical time control, and the time is up. It's time to take their seats and to get started with round number 1 of the round robin. The discussions have happened. This is all the time the players got. And there we see perhaps a player, Peter.
Move.
I did say white will make the first move, castle. It
Yes,
has
of
happened, and it's by none other than world number 1. He starts with castle. This is going to be awesome. And Firusha also castles in return.
Yes, and look at Alireza. Yeah, okay. I'm in sleeping mode. It's just everyday business, right? Fantastic.
Love it. And we've got some more moves. This is our bird's eye view to take in all the opening action. So we see very similar also in front of us. The big Indian talent, Gukesh. He's sitting by himself in his own zone, analyzing the start of the position. He plays with the white pieces. Nicholas, it's so interesting the different approaches the players have before the start of the round. We saw the three greats, Fabi, Magnus, Levon discussed, and here we have one youngster in solitude.
Yes, and we see that he's also playing some moves on the board, and well, I like his approach also, just thinking about the position himself, because it can be quite distracting to discuss with the players. You lose some time, and he's playing different moves over the board, and we'll see which approach in the end will yield the better results, but I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's fun to see him just pondering the position and figuring out what to do with the white pieces in his game against Magnus Carlsen.
White has this pawn on f4, black has this pawn majority all on the light squares, and the dark squares with that monster bishop on h4. The queen is also on h6. So lot of dangers looming at white's king. Advocating that king as quickly as possible, in my opinion, had clear priority. On the other hand, Levon is a big maestro, so he did come up with the move bishop ac. Something had to be in his mind. So let's ask Nicholas, what do you think of all this?
Well, before we get to this, I just want to briefly point out that we have another result. There was a draw between Magnus Carlsen and Vincent Keimer, and we did not really look at this game a whole lot, which is we did not look at it because it was a fairly normal game for freestyle chess. Even if you look at the end, at the final position, you wouldn't even think it has resulted from such a strange starting position. So in this position, they agreed to a draw. It's equal material.
This kind of natural. The knight is heading towards the f7 square. Knight e5, knight f7.
And white will also always have the idea of knight d3, knight b4 checks to grab that d2 pawn eventually. Alireza starts with a check. He wants to control it with the f5 square, take the h6 square under control.
Little bit strange for me to invite that king, knight f5, king f4, because it's known that the flank pawn, the h pawn and the a pawns are very dangerous against the knight. He really believes that this is still all fine. It should be, because the pawn is still far away.
And Alireza knows exactly what he's doing. We're going to head into a king versus king position. What a dramatic fight this was. Another roller coaster battle, and that's what we've come to expect when Magnus Carlsen takes on Alireza Firouzja. Eventually ends in a draw, but the game was not peaceful at all, Peter.
Not at all. It was fantastic, incredible action, but it gives us the chance to jump into d4, for example. And we just enjoy this knight on e5. We are hitting the rook. The rook isn't really doing much. And we are already coming with a tempo with rook b1. And if the knight moves, the b5 pawn will be falling. And we have been discussing about seeing Magnus before leaning backwards, enjoying the situation. Now when I saw him, he was leaning back from total frustration. You know, he's back at the board. He is just so angry with himself that how did I let this happen from that marvelous position? And now it's white risks absolutely nothing, so that Gukesh is down to a minute. If he keeps the control, then the clock won't be such an... Let's not forget, it's 10 seconds increment.
Which is a lot of time to start gaining on the clock, a 10-second increment. But Gukesh has to keep control not only on the position, but his nerves as well. Undoubtedly, he's feeling that he's the one who's pushing in this position. Every single initiative that Magnus has...
It sounds terrible. Let's see. Okay, so but if anyone tells Hans on Twitter or whatever, X, whatever, that he needs to have his rock album released, please tell me. Please tell me if you tell him this. I want to know. You should make a whole...
Machine. choice. Rook to d8, putting pressure. King e2, and the knight is coming out. So black is better in this endgame, but it should not have been over that quickly. So I think a very terrible mistake happened here at some point. Rook a3, rook c2, knight e6, bishop f6, king f7, and now a very uncharacteristic blunder happened by Ding Liren, who put the bishop on e5. The bishop should go somewhere back to c3 or maybe to a1, one of these squares, or maybe even to h8. But on e5, it was lost immediately. Rook e3 check ends the game because the king's in check and the bishop is attacked. It's a double attack. The bishop is dropping. That's a full piece, and that's game over. So Ding Liren in the first game committing a big mistake, and Fabiano is taking a win with the black pieces. So good start for him.
And Peter, quite a quick win in the...
Does Ara? I don't think so, no.
If I move here, it has to move here.
Oh, he's been whining because we haven't been giving him any snacks. Puyo. Goose, sit. Sit. Wait. Sit. Oh my gosh, he's salivating. He loves these stuff. Look at him. Yeah, good boy. Good boy. He's salivating. Salivating.